So yesterday I watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'm only doing this movie review because I did the last one, I had so much fun with it, I want to do another one, you know what I'm saying? So, yesterday I watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and God, that movie is so much fun, bro. Like, I'm a Deadpool fan in general. I love the first movie so much. The second movie I also like, not as much as the first one, but I like the freaking, both the Deadpool movies. And when I seen Deadpool and Wolverine about to team up, bro, I knew that that was about to be a movie that was gonna be gas, because these two, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a huge, like, comic fan reader or anything like that. I've read comics, but, like, not a whole lot of them, and I've never seen these two in a team up in comics because I haven't read that. But I know their chemistry because of how much they've hinted at it in the other movies. So I was ready for this movie, bro. And the freaking, I seen the trailers, like, this looks like it's about to be so much freaking fun, bro. I'm so hyped, and it did not disappoint, bro. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna try to be mostly spoiler free, just in case you haven't seen the movie already. I mean, I'm gonna say a couple of tiny things, just like I did in the last one, but I just don't want to spoil it for the people that like the movie a lot, even if certain things have already been released publicly by the studio or whatever. But I knew this movie was gonna be gas as soon as they showed the intro dance freaking sequence, bro. The fight dance sequence, bro, that was so bro, Deadpool was going in, bro. He was, I was like, yo, why is this so goof, bro? I love it. It was so goofy, man. But at the same time, they had the, like, slow-mo fight scene that was going on, and it was so gas with the credits popping up as everything happened, bro. I was like, ugh, bro. I was like, all right, well, already the cinematography and the freaking heart in this movie is leagues better than so much of the Marvel stuff that have come out recently, bro. I was like, yo, this is gonna be such a fun movie. That intro sequence was so fun, bro. Bro, he was good. Deadpool was, obviously, it was like, you know, it was a dancer that was in the suit, not Ryan Reynolds, but it doesn't matter, bro. Bro was, I was like, bro, why is he killing it so hard, bro? I was like, this man going crazy. I was locked in from the first 5 minutes of the movie, bro. Already, dog. But basically, if you don't know, the plot line of the movie is basically just kind of like Deadpool is trying, he's going through a midlife crisis. He gave up on being Deadpool because things aren't really working out for hhim, and he almost lost his girl. Well, he did lose his girl, but I'm saying he almost lost his girl, like she almost died. Well, she did die, technically. But, you know, that was Deadpool 2. Anyway, he's upset because, you know, everything's going wrong for him, and he has to find his place in the world because he wants to be important or whatever. And at some point in this movie, the TVA comes through. The TVA is like the people that, like, control the universes or whatever. And, like, in simplest terms anyway. And they want to bring him into Marvel. But the only way for them to do that is if they absolutely eviscerate his world. Well, his world's going to be eviscerated anyway because the anchor person is, like, dead, who is Logan. You know, Logan died in his universe, and now that his anchor person is dead, he's going to have to, his whole world's going to collapse, and they gave him a chance to, like, leave his world and his family or whatever so that he can go join Marvel. Obviously, Deadpool, though he's insane and freaking hilarious, he doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want his family to die. So he instead opts to get a Wolverine to replace the Wolverine that died in his universe so that his universe will stay intact. And the entire plot is basically like these people are trying to stop him, and he's trying to find the Wolverine and bring him back. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes on in this movie in terms of, like, the void that he ends up in, which has a bunch of cool stuff I'll slightly get into later. Point is, he has to get back and save his world and prove that he cares more about other people than himself for once. Now, obviously, this isn't a crazy spoiler. Obviously, he ends up finding a Wolverine that can help him out, kind of, because that Wolverine is a severe drunk that, you know, apparently ruined his entire world or whatever. But before that, he goes through a bunch of different portals and finds a bunch of different Wolverine variants, and they're all so much fun, bro. They beat the crap out of him, obviously, because they all just have beef immediately. But one of the Wolverines that beats the crap out of him is so freaking cool because it's a reference to something that we've been talking about as Marvel fans, like a potential Wolverine that we potentially could have had or have in general. And it was really cool to see, even though it was a very short amount of time. I won't say what it is because if you see it and you've been waiting for this Marvel thing specifically, you will be hype about it when you see it. So I won't say it. I'll just say that it was awesome, even though it lasted for all of 5 seconds. It was so sick, and it was funny, by the way. But obviously, he ends up finding this Wolverine, and this Wolverine's a failure and a drunk or whatever, and he's also just like the worst Wolverine, apparently, of all the universes, because this particular Wolverine did something I won't go into detail about that, like, ruined his entire world, and he's depressed. So that they ends up finding that Wolverine. But, like, the chemistry between them is so great because, you know, obviously there's Deadpool, who's just like the absolute annoying comedy guy who just doesn't care about anything that he says. He just says the first thing that comes to his mouth, and it's always stupid. And then you got Wolverine, who's like the depressed, freaking super serious guy. guy who's like, nah, bro, I'm all about that business and I'm depressed and all my family's dead. I don't want to, like, he's like, you know, them bouncing off each other's legs because Wolverine just gets so pissed at him all the time. He's just like, what are you so pissed? In fact, that they end up fighting several times in the movie. And by the way, you would think that two people that don't have, they have regenerative properties to their bodies, them fighting would be annoying to watch because they can't die anyway. Well, they can, they just have to go for the head. But it's actually the opposite, especially because this movie is rated R, which God bless the fact that they made it rated R, because otherwise these fights wouldn't be as cool. But like the fact that they can just go all out and they can hit each other as hard as they can, and like they can freaking rip each other's hearts out and stuff like that, and like and no one dies, you know what I'm saying? And it makes for very fun looking fight scenes, even if it doesn't happen that often. It's like, it's just, they can do whatever they want and get as creative as they want with the choreography because both of them have regeneration. So they're not, as long as you don't take their head off, they're not gonna die, you know what I'm saying? So like it's gonna get freaking really gruesome, and each fight scene kind of has a place because they all happen during a certain pivotal moment in the movie in terms of like their relationship. And there's especially one that happens later on that has references. Yeah, and I love that scene because of the way they have it shot. It's like right after they fight, they have a little pan to like the license plate, and it just says coexist, and it's just the cars bumping up and down, and then after that they're both like laid out on their back asleep, and I'm like, bro, this is the reference to what that actually means for like adults is so funny, bro. The cinematography in this movie is freaking great, by the way. Like, it's just awesome, and like between that and like especially when it comes to like the fight scenes and stuff, the way they shoot certain things, it's freaking lit. And another thing about the fight scenes, there's one particular moment in a fight scene that I really like, and it's probably, I mean, it's just one little thing, but I liked it so much. There's a point where Wolverine and Deadpool are fighting at some point, and Wolverine gets deflected, like his claw gets deflected, so he retracts the claw, punches bro straight in the mouth, and then stabs him in the chest, and I thought it looked so cool. I don't know why. That one thing looks so awesome to me, but otherwise, all the fight scenes are freaking sick. There's only one fight scene, I mean, it was cool, but it's hard to follow because of reasons I won't say. It's just, I'm just gonna say everything looks the same, so it's hard to keep track of who's who. That's what I'm gonna say. And that fight scene seemed very out of place. It was just kind of fan servicey. I mean, it was cool, I guess, but it wasn't necessary. It felt like it dragged the movie a little longer. But other than that, I didn't have a problem with any of the fights. All the fight scenes were freaking fire. Every single one of them. It was just gas. One of the coolest things about this movie, well, two of the coolest things. One of the coolest things is the cameos that are in this movie. I mean, like, I already said one of them. I didn't say what it was, but it was so cool. There's another one that happens that I was so not expecting. First of all, they got Mad Max references in this movie, which obviously is awesome by itself. But there's somebody that appears during this Mad Max reference that's not expected at all. You think it's one person, and then suddenly they do something totally different, and you're like, no, that's him, and it's so cool, bro. I was like, oh my god. It lasts for all of a few seconds, like it always does, but it was so freaking fire. It was so funny, especially with the end credit scene that involves this cameo in particular. I waited in the theater the entire time for this thing, and it wasn't like one of those things where I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I waited, but it was fun. It was a funny little thing. I didn't mind that I waited, but this particular cameo that happens in the middle of the movie after they end up in the void is so oh my god, it was so good. It was so good, man. The cameos were so good. But the other thing that made this movie freaking great was the team ups that happened in the movie. All of them, every single team up that there is in this movie, bro. It's freaking sick. Like, it's just like there's one particular big team up, and I know they already publicly released a still from the team up. I'm not gonna say what it is though, because if you haven't seen this still, then I don't want to spoil it for you, because I was spoiled for it and it was still cool to me. But like, if you don't know and you walk in and see these people show up, it's gonna be the coolest thing, especially if you're like an older person. Like, you'll have references for certain things. You'll be like, oh, that's and I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say that when each person walked out on slow-mo, the little kid in me was like, ah! I was hyped, bro. I was so hyped. And then they obviously had so much cool stuff fighting together. There's one character that probably already has been shown before, and he's hilarious. And I don't want to say what he does, but he's got a I can't really say what he does without spoiling who he is. So I'm not gonna really say, but he's hilarious, bro. Especially because Deadpool keeps insulting him because of how he is. And I was just like, he's just so funny. But anyway, so the team ups are freaking awesome, and whenever they fight together, they're so awesome. The only one that you already know, because she was like in the trailer, is X-23, which that obviously seeing her again older was first of all, it's insane because I didn't realize it's been that long since I seen Logan. But regardless, it was so good to see her again. The other ones I won't say. The other ones I will not say because they were really a pleasant surprise. Deadpool, the way he talks is like the same way as usually. It's like either like his jokes are like funny, like you laugh at him, or they fall completely flat. But like honestly, it's because he's Deadpool. I don't really care. His whole character is supposed to be corny. So like most of the time when he says something, I just when I roll my eyes, it's not really a roll my eyes as like, oh, he's doing this again. It's more like, oh, Deadpool. And he's more, Ryan Reynolds is more is in full freaking form here in this movie, being Deadpool again. Like he's perfectly acting like Deadpool, and it's like this one was so fun. I was so glad to see. And there's certain things that happen in this movie that like are a lot of fan servicey stuff that like really work, especially something that happens with Wolverine that we waited 24 years to 24 years to see, and I was like, oh my god, it was just so sick, man. And I just want to say for a plot line perspective, like there's a lot of heart in the storyline. Like the storyline itself, despite it being a Deadpool movie, it's very, there's a lot of heart in what's going on, especially like with Deadpool. There's always heart in Deadpool movies where he's like clearly a jokester, but like there's some serious undertones into certain things, like especially with the fact that he feels like a nobody and he wants to be somebody, especially when you consider the fact that he's worried that his family isn't gonna care about him as much because he's just like, he's never been that guy. He's kind of got the same thing that like, you know, Cap said to Iron Man, where he's like, you would never make the sacrificial play, bro. Like he's kind of got that whole thing going on in this movie, and like in the end it ends up getting paid off and everything. It's like, it's really nice to see, especially what happens in the end of the movie that I'm not gonna go into detail about, but there's something he does at the end of the movie that is just really good. It's in Deadpool fashion. He does it like an a-hole but like it's still it works out so well, and then you get a pretty good conclusion to the movie as far as him, you know, coming full circle with his arc. And so yeah, cinematography was great, the acting was obviously great, the way that Deadpool acts the entire movie, perfect for his character. He's fun, he's just fun to watch. The fight scenes were freaking incredible every single time, and the choreography for those is amazing. I just say, like, if you're the only thing is, if you're not a Deadpool fan, you're not gonna like this movie, obviously, because Deadpool is literally a nuisance. But like, if you don't care and you love Deadpool, bro, I highly recommend you go and watch this movie if you haven't already. And if you're waiting for it to hit streaming, that's fine too, but just watch it, bro. If you like Deadpool and you like Wolverine, you're gonna freaking love this movie. It's just, especially if you're a comic fan, like, this movie is freaking awesome. It's just so good. It's awesome. And the way it's rated, I was expecting it to be a 96% by audiences, but I understand, bro. This movie's freaking fun. It's so much fun. It's not fun the same way Trap was fun. Trap was fun because it was dumb, but like, this movie was fun because it's fun, and it's got like so much cool stuff. The villains are not crazy, I guess, but like, they hold the movie down and make it so that Deadpool can really get his family arc. So I love that. I don't want to go into any more details specifically about it. I just want to say that this movie is definitely worth the watch 100% if you haven't seen it already. As far as what I would personally rate this movie, it's kind of man, as far as like an actual enjoyment, man, this movie was, I had fun pretty much the entire movie. There's only one point in the movie where I wasn't having a great time, and it was that one scene I talked about earlier where he couldn't really follow it that well. Is that whole part felt useless. But other than that, there wasn't a single moment where I was like, nah, I don't want to be here anymore. So I honestly think that I can fairly give this movie a 9 out of 10. If you are new to this channel, welcome to the channel. Make sure you go check out my other videos, and I will probably be doing more movie reviews of some different things just because I'm having fun with this now. And if you haven't subbed already, please go ahead and leave a sub and like at the bottom, because likes are important as well. They were very helpful. And with all that being said, fellas, I will catch y'all in the next one.